Now that wasn't very long, because you can basically do it on your own. But with this technique of the nose, you can also do it when you're stressed out, when you're at work, just having to let go of certain stressful situations, etc. Just do this. Okay. So this is also on a daily basis. If you can start out your morning with breathing meditation, so these very conscious breathing more strongly through those two nostrils, then equally you pay attention 3 times, and then you just breathe normally. You do the normal breathing meditation. And when you get distracted, you go back to it. You can actually go back to it again. Great. So I thought I'd start off with that to then go into the philosophical explanation here. And philosophical, sometimes the word makes us cringe. But that's just an English word. In Tibetan Buddhism, they don't call it philosophical view. They just say it's like a view of how things exist. Of course, with regard to mainly the mind. So I'm sure, as you're all aware, Buddhism is sometimes described as a science of mind. In the sense of like analyzing, coming to know, getting to know what the mind is like. Yeah? And of course, the problem with the mind is versus external objects. We can all look at this object and agree this is a stick and say things about it and basically come to the conclusion we see something similar here. Whether it's the same is to be seen, but we have a similar perception of that. With the mind, our problem is I can only know my own mind and you can only know your mind. For all I know, you could all be zombies. I don't know whether you have a mind. I don't know, I cannot perceive it. From your actions, I can maybe infer you're sad, you're happy, you're this, you're that, but I can't perceive your own mind. In fact, even my own mind is kind of difficult to perceive because I'm not used to looking at my own mind, right? We're not used to looking at it in the sense that maybe an analysis of the mind that you may find helpful is that of a movie projector. Nowadays, I'm not sure when you go to a cinema, you still use movie projectors, right? Those huge machines, and then you put the roll of the film on one side and an empty roll on the other, and then slowly the movie, right, goes from the full roll slowly moves over to the empty roll. While where does the pictures, the individual pictures, they run past a bright light, okay? And then, due to the light that is projected onto a screen, you see images, and because it's done in a very fast way, there's an illusion of not just individual frames, but there's actual movement. Okay, that's how it works. So our mind is similar to a movie projector in that it's got the light. The light is the ability for anything to appear to the mind and to be perceived, experienced by the mind. In fact, the mind is often described as having the nature of clear light. Why light and why clear? Light, like the light from a movie projector. Anything can appear to it. And anything can be known. So just as because of the light in the movie projector, anything can be projected, right? Can appear or made appear. Likewise, because our mind has a certain characteristic, or because it can reflect things, if you like, so therefore things can appear to it and we can know things. Okay? Clear in the sense that its nature is totally clear. As like our anger, our worry, all this is not the nature of the mind. Just as the clouds are not in the nature of the sky, they just come and go, but they don't destroy the nature, the blue nature of the sky, they just temporarily obscure it. So, or as the light, the movie projector light, there may be some dust moving around it, but that's not part of the light itself, and it just comes and goes, these little dust clouds, whatever. And that way it's just clear light. That's how mind works. So it's the analogy of light is used. And with these images, it seems to be the objects are over there on the screen, right? But in actuality, those objects are just moving past the movie projector. Likewise, the objects that appear to us, they seem to be over there, separate from our own mind. But in actuality, they're actually part of this mind. The objects appear to our mind, and what appears to my mind doesn't appear to yours. Just scientifically, it couldn't be, because I'm over here, you're over there. You see something right now I've never seen. I've never seen my own face. I've seen a reflection of my face, but that's not my face. I've seen a photograph of my face. That's not my face. I can kind of see the tip of my nose. So I don't have a Tibetan nose. Maybe a Tibetan nose, you wouldn't be able to see it. But I can kind of see the tip of my nose if I look at it. But that's all I've ever seen. So you see something I have never seen, my own face. And I see something you've never seen. Right? So when we just look at each other, we all see something that the other has never seen. Only a picture of it, but never the actual thing. So in that way, at each point in time, we have a very unique experience. But of course, like on top of that, we live in we are in different spots. So when I show you the stick, you all individually see something slightly different. Now, is there another stick that no one sees around here? Well, let's see. Okay? But what you perceive, it's kind of like you have your own movie going across your mind that's individually different from everyone else's, but it seems it's over there. Okay? So in that way, I think the movie projector, that works. And we're so used to the movie. Like when you sit in the movie theater, you don't turn around and check out the movie projector. You check out what's up on the... So we're used to just looking at the pictures and the images. But we're not used to looking at that which creates the images. That's what we're trying to do here. Okay? Part of it. Because we have to look at that because we can't separate it from the mind. But in what context? So if you look at the first chapter, it talks about what are our basic human problems. They're not difficult to understand. So it's an introduction here. Dalai Lama's perspective is given about so many problems in this world. We all know about them. So can we do something about them? Of course, very limited only. Only very limited can we. Can we bring about world peace? Well, you may be Miss Israel, you're right up there, and she's like, I'm working for world peace. I mean, that may be true, but to accomplish world peace, of course, that's a different matter. To give your own, to contribute to world peace. And if everyone did, well, great, we would have world peace. So the only thing we can do is we contribute. So he talks about it's important to use our human ability, our human strength, our intelligence, to use it in a positive way. Okay, very kind of nothing hard to understand about this. And also to understand that material comfort is great, but that's not all there is. Just because we live in a material world, we're very attached to our material development. In fact, development nowadays is measured by material progress, right? If you look at any country, would you say Bhutan is a developed country or an undeveloped? It's a developing country, right? But they're really happy people. I mean, they have this, what is it, the gross human happiness, right? You actually measure that. I mean, you wouldn't dare to measure that in Germany, that's for sure. If the government were to measure its success by the German happiness, let's stick with the material progress. It's safer. Okay? So the thing is, a developing country or developed country is measured not by the mental well-being of its people, but more by the material progress. And although we know money can't buy happiness, kind of deep within it feels like a little bit happiness. I love that. The other day, I was in a retreat, and it was Black Friday. So sometimes at night, I like to let go of all that talking. I want someone to talk to me. So I put on the TV. And I watched this I-24. There's this news channel. And it's just about Black Friday. Wow, people rushing, running back and forth. I was like, wow, people actually came to this retreat. It's Black Friday. All right. Anyway, so a lot of rushing back and forth. And then they interviewed this lady, and she's like, yes, Black Friday is great. It's not a Jewish holiday. And still, it's not a Jewish holiday. It's still a day that's very special. It brings happiness to everywhere in the world. And I was like, wow, how cute. She believes, like, not just Israel, but so many countries. And they showed it like 3 or 4 times in a row, right? It's like, again and again, I showed her. And I was like, wow, they must think that's really brings a lot of happiness to people, right? What a bizarre thing. I was thinking, like, how does this actually work? Do you wish for something the whole year and you wait until the prices go down and then buy it on that day? Or is it like, I want it, I need it, it's more expensive, I can't wait, I'll buy it now. And then on Black Friday, you buy whatever you don't need because you already bought everything you need. So that's how it probably works, right? Yeah. It's bizarre. It's like, I was fascinated by that Black Friday thing. Anyway, so you see how our whole world is so much about material things, right? About stuff, buying stuff, etc. And I'm not criticizing that, but our problem is we neglect our real way of getting happy. When we get caught into that, we are actually missing the opportunity to find more peace and more happiness. In fact, the more material things we have, the more we worry. Because now we need a bigger house, right? We need to store all these things. And then we worry about not having one. And when we have one, we worry about it, you know, being destroyed or someone stealing our stuff or whatever. There's so much, we're so much busier because we have so much stuff. It's a real burden to have that many things. And somehow we believe there's a short moment of satisfaction, right? I have this. So there's a relief from some underlying dissatisfaction, and then we have something more, and maybe there's a short relief, and then it's back. And then we have much more on our hand, but now we need a cleaning woman because I cannot manage cleaning all this, dusting all this stuff, right? So actually, this material world has a lot of advantages, but it's brought new problems. So it's actually, when you think about this long enough, the material development is not, it helps us, but happiness cannot come from these things. Happiness cannot come from external objects. And that takes us closer to what the Buddha said 2,600 years ago. Happiness comes from the mind. It comes from our own mind. It does not actually come from external objects. They can only give us that much happiness and not more. Okay? So happiness is really found in our own mind. But that may be a place that scares us. Our own mind may actually, we may run away from our own mind, and so therefore go shopping instead, just not to be with our own mind. I get that. I went through that myself. I was a teenager. Being a teenager, this is, in my case, that's what it was. I didn't want it. Silence? Are you kidding me? Be with my own thoughts? Oh no. They're weird. They're funny thoughts. Right? So I didn't want to be with myself. That was a bit of an obstacle. But it's just a matter of spending some time on your own, looking inside, and realizing it's just clouds, right? White clouds, black clouds, rain clouds, thunder clouds, fluffy summer clouds. In the end, it's just clouds. It's got nothing there material and nothing scary. Okay, so it's just doing it and looking inwards and learning to feel comfortable with yourself. Being able to be with yourself, at least for a while. Okay? Anyway, here the Dalai Lama talks a lot about the material development and says we have to strike a balance between material development and the development of spiritual values. Okay? Spiritual, like spirit, the word spirit. The German word, for instance, the German word for mind has the connotation of spirit and mind. So spiritual already has that connotation, has that meaning in it of something to do with the mind. So spiritual values are mental values versus material objects. Okay? So the first meditation in the first chapter, but we don't need to do this because we don't have that much time, but just universal concern is essential. We have to have concern for others, for this world, to make some changes. He talks about love and compassion being so important. We'll discuss them further. also he talks about one of his responsibilities. He said he has these 3-4 points that he dedicates the rest of his life for. So one of them is to advocate harmony between religions, because religions are the main kind of religions. They're important. There are a lot of trouble. There's a lot of conflict between different religions because of mine is good and the other one isn't, right? So there are conflicts all over within certain religions. Then there are subdivisions, and then they don't get along, right? I've been told here in Israel, like some Jewish groups, they're all Jewish, and they don't get along, right? So in Buddhism, there's a very strong emphasis on, well, you don't have to have faith in the other religion, but respect. You don't have to believe in the other belief, but have respect for those who practice it, because most of the main religions, they give at least an ethical value that allows people to be more ethical, and we need more ethical behavior in this world. So if that's maybe part of a belief system we cannot follow, fair enough, but it aims towards more ethical behavior, and love, compassion, generosity, those are qualities that are advocated. So religious tolerance is very important. And Lama always talks about this. He says that there is no best religion. You may have heard him say that. May have even mentioned it in here. I think he mentions it in here. That we cannot say, this medicine is better than that medicine. We can't say medicine that helps you for a headache, that helps you getting rid of a headache, is better than medicine that helps you to get rid of a knee ache, or medicine that helps you to relieve the symptoms of a cold, or the one that helps you to get rid of cancer. No, we can't say that any of those are the best medicine. This is better than that. It depends on the disease, right? According to what the problem is, the sickness is, then a certain medicine is the best. Well, religious beliefs are like that. It depends on the person's needs, interests, predispositions, background, culture, etc. So in dependence on that religion is best to that person. So it's not the best religion. Buddhism is not the best religion, if you call it a religion altogether. It's not best. It's for some people appropriate. And if it's not totally, you take the bits and pieces you like and you leave the rest. So we learn from each other. In fact, in Buddhism in the past, there were these great universities, like monastic universities, where people got together, not just monks and nuns, but mainly monks, but also lay people from other religions to come and exchange. That was India in the days. It was incredible. Right? So to learn from one another. So he mentions this very much. And universal concern, he talks about then that this is so important, that we all need to take responsibility for the world around us, because we're all interconnected. We're connected to everyone, especially this small world now. We're much more affected by what's going on in other countries. Much more affected. That's why, in a way, nuclear weapons have an advantage. Like Pakistan and India, if they use their nuclear weapons, they're going to wipe themselves out. That's the one thing that keeps Pakistan, well, one reason definitely, because they're neighboring countries. So if you attack Pakistan or India with a nuclear weapon, because of the proximity, you're going to kill yourself. It's basically committing suicide. That's the one advantage of nuclear weapons, that they're so disruptive. If a nuclear war starts, that'd be the last war in this world. That's the thing. That's the only advantage of these horrible weapons, that if an actual world war starts, that will be the last war this world sees. Okay? So that's why it actually keeps us from, well, we're more careful about using them. Have been used, of course. Okay. So, to basically take responsibility here for what's going on in this world, to understand that we are actually have one thing in common with everyone. And that's often the reason why we feel close to someone. Right? Why do we feel close to someone? Because they're like this, well, like traditionally it's like because they come from the same background, the same country, or they have the same culture, the same religion. For younger people, it's like same haircut, same music, right? You're a punk, you like being a punk. If you're a funk, Is that something? I don't know. Punk,
Evil.
hippie, right? There are all these words, right? If you're a monk, you're like monks. No. So there's like, but that is very superficial. That's pretty superficial. Our likes and dislikes, and on the kind of like our culture likes and dislikes, fashion likes and dislikes. Those are things we have in common. We feel close to people, but one thing that we have all in common that goes so much deeper. We all want to be happy, and we don't want to have problems. We want to live a relatively peaceful life, want to get the things we need, and be happy and don't want to suffer. We have that in common with everyone. If you meet someone on the street, I know for sure. I don't know anything about them, but I know that one thing. And that can right away create a bond towards them. Like, we have something in common. That distance doesn't have to be there. And the Dalai Lama always mentions it at every teaching, in the beginning. It creates somehow this kind of connection with everyone. So we look at very superficial things. But if you just meet someone and you go, wow, they're just like me. They just want to be happy. And the question is like, do I deserve to be happy? Oh, absolutely. I feel very strongly. But they do too. They do too. And everyone else does. So with that understanding, this is what he starts off with here. Well, to have that attitude, that does not mean we don't have to sometimes use strong means to stop someone from harming themselves. We have to do it for ourselves. Okay, enough now. My mind is going up and down. I've been insulting this person. Enough. Stop it now. We have to say this to ourselves sometimes. Stop it. It's okay. Enough. I've done enough damage. But also with other people. Right? Still care for your own well-being, love and acceptance of your own shortcomings, right? Because none of us is perfect. But still, sometimes we have to tell ourselves, enough now. This mind has to arise that tells the other mind, stop it. Okay? And with other people too. No, it's enough. It's not okay. You're harming others, you're harming yourself. And external means can be strong. But that doesn't mean that internally you have to feel hatred. Okay? That's the difference. With our children. We love our children. You love your children. You love your children. Are you always like, oh, do whatever you want? No, you're not doing them a favor. So strong. It's good to be strong. But with love and compassion, you can be much stronger than with anger. Right? We have this idea, but to defend of a mammoth, or what do you call these big animals, like a tiger that may attack my family, in the old days, when that was a real threat, then I needed to be angry. But you don't need to have anger, even with care for an animal or whatever. You can still fight it off. I mean, in fact, you have more strength. Compassion and love are so misunderstood. Compassion and love doesn't mean you're externally like, hey, peace, yeah. It's not about that. It's an internal state of mind that externally can be very rough. I've seen the Dalai Lama, very scary. This is not okay. Don't behave like that. Wow. Really? So the Dalai Lama is not all smiles and sweet, right? No. Just when he meets new people, like we are, shalom. Like right away. No, we're friendly. But when it's necessary, we can be strong. And strength, from love and compassion, you get real strength. Hatred exhausts you. Try to be resentful for a few hours, right? If we had more time, we could do an experiment. I get all that resentment running in you, and then ask you how you feel. Okay. But the thing is, like, when we have resentment and hatred, it's just exhausting. It gives you for a moment, it may give you some strength, but with love and compassion, you have longer strength, long term. It's much stronger. So that's so misunderstood. Love and compassion are so misunderstood. Like a mother who really loves her children, right? And the same, most mothers, they have so much strength. Okay? Can work for 10 children. Someone who doesn't have children can't do that. They don't have the same strength. So it comes from this love, this care, and they're happy doing it. Right? They're happy changing these nappies and so forth. They're happy doing it because of that love. So a hateful mother be a miserable mother because there would be no energy. A loving mother has a lot of energy. And that doesn't mean she's always soft and sweet and... Okay? Does that make sense? So that is so misunderstood, the ideas of love and compassion, but they're so important. We need more in this world, more love, more compassion for ourselves and for others. And that's so strong. Compassion is strong. The wish to remove someone's suffering. You can even have, the Dalai Lama mentions it in a different book, you can have anger towards the situation. That's actually permissible, because what we say anger is harmful is if it's directed at the person. It's directed at the person and not at the action. We don't get angry with the action. We say that, but we see the action and the person as one and are angry with the person. So we hate the person with the action. So to be angry with the action, but to say that's different from the person. So for the person, the wish to be happy, for them to be happy, like having happiness from positive actions, we wish for them to have that, but we say the action is wrong, this is not okay, we need to stop it. Forgiveness works the same way. The Dalai Lama always talks about forgiveness. If you don't forgive what's been done to you, you may actually make things worse for you. Whether you forgive the person or not, the other person doesn't have to find out. Right? If you feel like, no, if you forgive the other person, they may feel like they can do it again. Well, then don't tell them. Forgiveness is something personal. You don't forgive the action, you forgive the person. Okay? There's nothing, if you feel like the action was wrong, it's wrong. Okay. But the kind of hatred that eats in us, it's not a hatred directed at an action. It's just an action. Right? So the hatred, it's directed at the person. That's what harms us. So we need to distinguish. But it already takes us to our misperception of how things exist in terms of another person. The other person is that action. We feel like when the negative action happens, we feel the person is that action. That's not true. Right? I don't want to be defined by certain actions I do. I'd like to not know you. I don't want you to know about these actions. In fact, I want you to see for my good action, not my bad ones. So I hide those, right? I'm going to tell you. Okay. So the point is, therefore, we are more than just particular actions. We're much more than that, and we get into that dependence, etc. So it'll be described. Anyway, that's just the beginning. So compassion is good. It's good for us. It's actually better for us than the other person. Some people think that cultivating compassion is good for others, but not necessarily for themselves, but that is wrong. You are the one who benefits most directly, since compassion immediately instills in you a sense of calm. And the other person may not even know you have compassion for them. So really, it's basically, if we're selfish, the Dalai Lama says we should be wisely selfish. Right? If it's like me, the center of the universe, that's what we start off with. As beginners, we're used to that. But we just don't know how to be really looking after ourselves. We're not wisely selfish. So before we can get rid of being selfish, we have to be wisely selfish. Because otherwise we keep drinking poison, wanting to be healthy. And that's what we do right now, if we don't focus more on love and compassion, but more on hatred. Okay, here it goes already in the direction. The more we use the word I, me, and mine, there's been some research, the more we use those words, the more likely we have high blood pressure. Right? And we use those words not just because we recite a mantra, I. No, we say it, we use it because we're so concerned with the self. And love and compassion, I forgot to mention, just recently there's been a research that was published on the BBC, how healthy love and compassion are. Right? There was this whole research on this. So you can actually read on this. There's been a scientific research on that. Okay. So the world has become smaller, he says. The destruction of our enemy is our own destruction. Okay. Love and compassion are the pillars of world peace, etc. All right. So don't need to go into all this. It's pretty self-explanatory. He says one thing that you may find, there's this whole idea in Buddhism that our nature, our actual nature, is that of love and compassion. In fact, we are nurtured by love and compassion. When we are born as kids, the same way we need food, the same way we need drink and warmth and a place to sleep, etc. We need love and compassion. Plenty of examples where children, when they're